My name is Patrice Haynes and I'm from Liverpool Hope University in the UK, and I'm at STIAS for the period of January to June 2021, and the project that I'm working on is concerned with what happens to philosophy of religion when we start from thinking about African religions, specifically African indigenous religions. So typically the work that I normally do, the research work that I normally do, is in philosophy of religion, and traditionally that's been very much focused around Christianity, and even a very abstract and ahistorical account of Christianity. And what my project is looking at is not only what happens to philosophy of religion when we take African indigenous religions as a starting point, but also being careful to think about decolonizing philosophy of religion as well. So one of the things that I'm really keen to avoid in my project is simply thinking that I can, or that the task is simply to extend what religions are covered in philosophy of religion. It's not just having it to be something more inclusive, but also actually reframing the whole way that we do philosophy of religion. So the project's got a critical part to it and a constructive aspect to it as well. The critical side to it is basically looking at the ways in which the concepts of philosophy and religion are implicated in what is referred to as colonial modernity. And this is the idea that our contemporary world is still shaped by the events that happened all the way from Columbus's so-called discovery of the Americas to this very day, even after political decolonization. So just how the world is still shaped by a very Eurocentric framework and understanding. So kind of making sure to contextualize philosophy, religion, their interrelation in this history, this genealogy. And having done that, one of the things that emerges, or has emerged from my research so far, is the role of the human and how the human has been constructed through philosophy and Christianity. And so turning to the constructive side of my project, the way that I'm framing it is in terms of rethinking the human and how that can be done by looking at African indigenous religions such as the Yoruba religion, the Shona religion, even though all those terminologies are problematic, because the very term religion is problematic because it doesn't derive from the West. But nevertheless, I think there's some fantastic resources in these religious traditions that allow us to think about the human in more relational terms, more in connection with the environment. But there's also problems to still consider to do with gender justice, for example. I look at the issue of women and pronatalism. That often is an issue in African religions more generally. Because I'm hoping to reframe how philosophy of religion is done, I'm moving outside of your standard discourses in philosophy of religion, standard text. So I'm looking at literature, art, dance, music, as a way to really think about how we can revitalise philosophy of religion going forward in the 21st century.